The next issue we want to talk about that will be on our May 4 ballot is Zeeland Public Schools and Cal to Kuiper. So Cal, tell us what's happening in your district.
Yeah, good. Thank you, Jane. Zeeland is a unique district in that we've had increased growth for 30 straight years until this year with COVID. We're down about 250 students, with a lot of students going to homeschool. So we lost that row of growth, but our kindergarten class is just huge again, and the growth is coming back. We did a study not too long ago. We showed 350 new residences, apartments, homes, et cetera, being built in the area. And 2 weeks ago, I learned of 2 more subdivisions that are going in close to the center of the district, of totaling 94 more homes. So what our district has asked us to do, and we spend a lot of survey time with our community, has said, handle the growth, preserve the buildings that we have, keep us safe, and do not raise my taxes. So 75% of our residents said to us, my taxes are very good compared to the education I'm receiving. We feel good, but I don't want you to raise them anymore. So we have to put together a plan that does that, handles the growth, preserves the buildings, keeps us safe, and don't raise the taxes. And we can do it. And there's one more thing. If you like to be a long-term superintendent, never move an elementary school boundary. So we keep all that intact too. From the smiles of the fellow superintendents, we know that we can do this. So I have a short professionally made video that'll put this together for you, and then a couple comments to close.
The Zeeland Public Schools community will have the opportunity to vote on a bond proposal on the upcoming May 4th, 2021 election ballot. If approved by voters, there is expected to be no tax rate increase to property owners. This bond proposal would generate $75 million over 5 years for district-wide improvements to preserve district facilities, address safety and security, and growth. Initial bond planning began with a local housing and construction assessment. Results were evaluated alongside district growth, current infrastructure of district buildings, and safety concerns around the district. Community forums, staff interviews, a scientific survey, and a community survey prioritized the scope of a potential bond. If approved, funding would be allocated over 3 stages spanning 5 years to address capital improvements as part of the district's long-term master plan for school buildings and sites. The proposal focuses on preserving district facilities by upgrading aging systems to extend the useful life cycles. Plumbing, mechanical, electrical, and building system upgrades as needed to improve operational efficiency. Building and site improvements throughout the district, including the replacement of aged windows, ceilings, parking lots, and paving. Updating HVAC to include air conditioning where possible. The proposal focuses on safety and security improvements throughout the district, including improving pedestrian and vehicular traffic patterns for families as they pick up and drop off students at our buildings, upgrading and adding interior and exterior lighting, fire alarms, and security cameras, improving playground safety by adding inclusive and accessible ADA equipment for students of all abilities. The proposal focuses on district growth by adding 6 classrooms at Adams Elementary to preserve all elementary school boundaries, renovating elementary school art rooms, renovating Cityside Middle School classrooms, adding classrooms at Zeeland East High School, and adding science and STEM labs. Upgrading equipment in industrial arts and skilled trade spaces at Zeeland West High School. Renovating the Early Childhood Center to provide improved spaces for speech services. Expanding facilities for Zeeland Recreation and Zeeland Athletics, including fine arts and the community track. If approved by voters, there is expected to be no tax rate increase to property owners, providing multi-staged improvements to Zeeland Public Schools. Find more details at www.zps.org. Stay up to date on Facebook, as more updates will be coming soon. Zeeland Public Schools. Learning for life. Please vote in the election on Tuesday, May 4th, 2021.
Good, thank you. I think am I back on, Keegan?
You are.
Great, thank you. Well, I appreciate you just taking a look at that. And probably the one that you recognize the most is that traffic jam in front of New Groningen Elementary. That's every morning and after school. And that's one of the first things that we'll work on is all that vehicular traffic work there. This is an example of Zeeland West High School. So there's $16 million in things like HVAC, plumbing, heating, electric, and you cannot use tax dollars that are bonded for a quick repair. So you're not going to fix a broken window, but if you have all single pane windows in a building, you could use bond dollars to replace an entire set of windows. So one of the questions were that yes for replacement of full packages, no for small fixes. Zeeland West Mechanical is now 21 years old and it's in great shape. I want to cue you up before we go to the next photo though. The next photo is a set that needs to be replaced. Go ahead if you would, Keegan, thank you. This is Cityside Middle School, used to be the high school, 60 years old. Some of it was 1960, some of it was 1980. And we buy parts for this off eBay. So this is one that needs to be replaced. The next slide would be an example of a roof that we have 1 million square feet of roofing. There's 6,000 students. It's really 2 school districts side by side, 14 buildings. This is one roof that is now 26 years old and in the next 5 years needs to be replaced. It's a $3 million project. So bonding is one of the rare ways that we have to be able to handle that. Let's go on to the next one. This is the building. We decided not to put a middle school. We're going to replace Creekside and not replace it, but repurpose Creekside. This is Creekside Middle School, and you can see 24 classrooms. And we were going to build a new middle school, take this building and put Spanish Immersion and ZQuest in it, 2 programs that are interspersed throughout our elementary buildings. And by putting them all together, and they want to be together, that opens 24 classrooms in our elementary buildings. That keeps the elementary boundaries together, we think somewhere between 15 and 18 years. We're going to hold on this building, and if we go to the next slide, I can show you why. This is the tax rate structure for this plan. In 2021, the millage is 6.7, and it would stay there throughout about 2026. If voters voted no, this tax rate would fall like you see it, but a few years earlier. So what we're asking voters to do is leave the tax rate the same, extend it out there. And the reason we put that building on hold is let's make sure that COVID ends and students come back before we build a building. And in 2026, you could, the next superintendent administration could have a proposal there to build that building again without a tax increase. So there's about a 15-year plan to keep the taxes the same and make all those things that the voters want happen. So that's our plan. Jane, I can't thank you enough for giving an opportunity to explain what we're doing.
Well, thank you, Cal. Facilities, safety, and growth, certainly priorities for Zeeland Public Schools, and appreciate your leadership on this important initiative.